Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a special extra edition of the Tin Dog Podcast. Today, Benjamin Cook was on British breakfast TV. BBC breakfast. You can imagine the sort of thing if you're not in the country. It's fairly formal, but there's a sort of chatty bit towards the end. He was on discussing Stephen Moffat's interview on Radio 5 Live, all of which you can hear on this podcast. But that's not important right now. What is important is what they were talking about. Stephen Moffat is not a happy man. He's not happy with us, the fans. Well, not us as a whole, just some of us. The ones who went to the early screenings organised by the BBC and were surprised that the plot was available online. People who leak storylines. Well, you know, if you let a fan see a Doctor Who story and he's got knowledge over other Doctor Who fans, they don't have that much self-control. We're just so excited. We love it. We want to share. It's the equivalent of finding, well, a missing Doctor Who story. You've also got one over on everyone else and want to show off, neither of which are good for your own moral compass. That's kind of a downer, really. You see, I was avoiding spoilers. I wasn't very happy with the cover of Doctor Who magazine, but I could live with it because it was advertising, and it would be over in the first 5 minutes. I guess. I gave up reading newspapers back in the 70s when I was a child, and I decided not to ever read a newspaper after they revealed who shot JR. Newspapers just weren't for me. Thank God for the internet, radio and television. At least I can get my news sources elsewhere. Suffice to say, I've stayed away from forums. But that's fine. That's what you expect. That's what they're there for. If you want to be spoilt with a storyline, I'm sure you could be. Hell, I get preview copies of the episodes these days, and there's something burning away inside that you want to share it, so much so that I'm tempted to hang on to Saturday night to watch the episodes with the viewing public. Look, here's the interview and you can make your own mind up. I'm sure you already have. Enjoy, and be seeing you very, very soon.
Now, the lead writer of Doctor Who's launched an outspoken attack on viewers of his own show.
Yes, it's Stephen Moffat, who says fans who leak plot lines in advance are committing acts of vandalism, and he hopes they will never watch the show again.
That's strong stuff. Let's talk now to our entertainment reporter, Colin Patterson, and Benjamin Cook from Doctor Who magazine. Morning to you guys.
Morning.
So, Colin, why is Stephen so upset?
Well, before this series of Doctor Who started, there was a launch event, and they invited along the press and some fans to see the first 2 episodes. Stephen Moffat got up, he's the boss of Doctor Who, and he said, please do not give away the plots of these episodes. Don't reveal who dies in the first episode. Don't give away the cliffhanger at episode 2. And the press obeyed, but the fans didn't. If you went online, you could find the entire plots of the first 2 episodes on there. Now, I went to a BAFTA TV event. It's the BAFTAs next Sunday. I met Stephen Moffat there and I asked him about these leaks and what he made of it. And as you'll hear, he was very, very disappointed.
It's heartbreaking in a way because you're trying to tell stories. And stories depend on surprise. Stories depend on shocking people. Stories are the moments that you didn't see coming. Those are what live in you and burn in you forever. If you are denied those, it's vandalism. So to have some twit who came to a press launch write up a story in the worst, most ham-fisted English you can imagine and put it on the internet, I just hope that guy never watches my show again, because that's a horrific thing to do. It is exactly like that boring man in the pub who waits until you're nearly finished your joke and jumps in with the punchline and gets it slightly wrong. You hate that guy, you should hate those guys too. And can you imagine how much I hate them?
This guy was a fan of the show.
It's only fans who do this, or they call themselves fans. I wish they could go and be fans of something else.
So Stephen Moffat sitting on the fence there. Benjamin, this is just one person, though, wasn't it, who gave away the plot?
One person is all it takes, sometimes, I think. I mean, I can understand Stephen's frustration, because he heads a team of people who, you know, work incredibly hard throughout the year to make the BBC's flagship show. And it should be their choice in how that story is digested by viewers. You know, the funny bits should make you laugh and the sad bits make you cry, and the twists and turns, of which there are many and many more coming up later in the series, you know, they should be allowed to shock people. And if someone goes online and spoils it for other fans, but also then often, you know, journalists will trawl the Doctor Who forums to find stories to put in the newspapers so it can reach the national press and so on. It's a bit of a rubbish thing to do. What I would say in the fans' defence is that it often comes from a place of enthusiasm. It's not malicious. It's because they love the show and want to,
You just have to tell everybody.
Yeah, they want information about it. They want to share information about it.
Soaps have been doing this for years as well, Colin, haven't they? Leaking plot lines, and the fans have caught on to what's happening, and
Well, it is
we
part
know
of
in
the whole game.
advance.
Yeah, I mean, Doctor Who gets fantastic viewing figures in its Saturday night tea time slot, and part of that reason is because of the hype that happens before the show. That's why they had the press launch. That's why they invite us along. That's why Matt Smith comes on and sits on this sofa, to get people talking about the show. And they are very much just relying on the goodwill of people not to take it that extra dimension and give away the plot.
Presumably this will be the last time the fans are invited along to screenings then.
Well, I hope not. But then, I mean, I suppose it's better to be a show that is talked about and people want that sort of that thirst, that hunger for information, than a show which everyone goes, we don't really care what happens
projects,
next.
I think I remember we've signed waivers before when we've been to see a film or something, and then they say, you know, if you give a plot away, we will hunt you down and we will kill you.
Yes, we're not even allowed to say that we went to see the screening, are we?
Yes,
There's
no.
some
Yeah.
occasions.
Well, I can't quite understand, I mean, each to their own, but I can't quite understand why anyone would want to watch an episode of Doctor Who and know what's coming up. You know, we were saying earlier, it's like sort of watching The Sixth Sense and knowing that big twist,
don't tell us
which
that
I
bit, 'cause I've
won't
not seen
spoil
that film.
for
Don't
you.
tell us a bit, no.
But there is a
that goes
big
back
twist
to
at the end.
that goes back to the soap point, which is you still continue to watch soaps, and they bring in millions of viewers with people knowing what's going to happen. Would it make any difference to audiences?
Well, a lot of people, when they buy a book, the first thing they do is turn to the last page and find out how it's going to end. There are always going to be people who like that and then feeling ahead of the game. But I think Doctor Who is in need of a sonic super injunction, isn't he?
Yeah,
to
just
stop
remind
this.
us, who did die in episode 1?
Well, it's been transmitted.
It's been
so I can say
transmitted, just in case, but then maybe people haven't seen it yet.
Well, it's the Doctor, a future version of the Doctor, and how that sort of resolves itself as the series progresses is something which the production team will want to keep quiet, because there's some great cliffhangers coming up.
So you know a lot that you
I
can't
do.
possibly say.
Yeah.
Don't, for
I
goodness
can't.
sake, no.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's very
This would
exciting.
be a
Enough
terrible
to-
place
it's
to
enough
say
to
it.
take, It's enough to make your hair turn red, obviously. isn't it?
Yeah, it has. I'm clashing with your sofa. This is
No,
what's
you're
worrying.
blending with it.
I'm
Don't worry
blending
about
with
You
it.
don't often hear someone being as angry about their own fans as Stephen Moffat was
No,
there.
you don't. But you can see, I mean, as you say, people put so much into it, and you craft these storylines. It'd be very upsetting when fans put it on the internet and write it badly. I think that was one of his main points. He just doesn't like the fact that it's been written so poorly either, does he, really?
But also, Stephen he's a lovely man, and he's a fan of the show himself. He's been a
Yes.
fan for years and years, so he's used to this whole sort of the game of it all, I guess. But I can understand his frustration. in
No
this
one's
case.
seen the final episodes, have they? These are just the first 2. Have you?
Maybe bits.
No, don't even tempt him. Thank you very much, Ben. Thank you,
Thank
Colin.
you.
He's not to leave the studio. Okay, thanks, guys. It's
4
what
minutes
time is it?
before 9.
There you go.
You have been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast. Doctor Who and its associated shows are all trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Contact us at tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk.